Kisiuk Wishnam, Kisiuk Kukit, Kisiuk Quiet. Welcome back, all my wealthy warriors. Welcome back to another amazing Warrior Wednesdays. I'm your host, Peter Not So White. Also, my ceremonial name, my given name, Kanshuke Tashmiet, which translates to Night Runner in my language. I'm coming from the unceded Coast Salish territories of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish people. So thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your lands. You know, I'm very truly thankful to be able to live in such a beautiful place like Vancouver, British Columbia. And today I want to talk about I guess overcoming obstacles and barriers and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And you know, some of you who know me in person know me a lot different than the person you perceive off of my social media, because you know, I have a podcast, as you know, because you're listening to it. Some people think that I talk a lot, when in all reality, it's totally different. I'm a type of person who sometimes, you know, I won't know what to say. Sometimes I can be socially awkward. Sometimes I can be introverted, where I just stand there and I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. And that, honestly, that is a common thing for Indigenous people. And that's another thing that stems from residential schools. And there's been studies on this, and it's been proven that it's a result of the many of the things that had happened in residential schools. So if you ever do see me in person and you want to come say hey and you want to talk with me, sometimes I just don't know what to say. And that comes from that. And you know, I'm honestly still in shock, and I'm super grateful when people come up to me and they talk with me and they say, hey, oh my God, you know, I follow you on Instagram, or I follow you on TikTok, and I love your content, and it's really amazing. Don't take it in the wrong way that, you know, sometimes I'll say thank you and like I'll smile. Sometimes it goes back to my traumas, the genetical traumas from residential schools on being socially awkward. Don't take anything to heart sometimes when I don't know what to say, because this is still all new to me. This is a growing thing for me, to people recognize me and to give gratitude for the things that I posted, for something that I said or something that I did that helped change their life for the better. Because you got to understand that for the majority of my life, I felt like a mistake, you know, and for me to understand that I'm not a mistake, and for me to use my gift through this speech, through my content, through me talking, through all this stuff, from someone who was labeled slow as a kid, someone who was labeled who had ADHD as a kid, just because I didn't understand a lot of the things that I had to grow through as a kid, all these traumas that I had to grow through. You know, all my first 3 memories as a kid were not the fondest memories to be, especially as a kid. So, you know, I'm just, for the longest time I felt like a mistake, and I know I'm not a mistake now, and it's starting to flourish, and I'm starting to see that now that more people are starting to recognize me in public. And I've even had, like, you know, mutual friends, or I've had friends reach out to me saying, you know, thank you for the things you've posted. And you know, since it was recently, not too long ago, MMIW Day, I wanted to talk about a story, you know, to protect who it is. I won't say names. I won't even say a gender. But this person reached out to me because they wanted to thank me, because the words that I said, something that I had posted on social media, on my TikTok, stopped them from committing suicide. And for me to understand that my words save someone's life, it makes me feel so grateful. And I was dissolute. I was kind of, you know, awed that, you know, something that I could say could affect someone so much that they didn't want to take their life. And what happened was, one of the things that I posted about, I talk about, you know, I've talked about it before, but suicide, you know, people take their lives because they're tired of the pain. They want the pain to end. But the pain doesn't end when you commit suicide. The pain only passes on to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends, to your co-workers. It's passed on to anyone you've ever touched in your life. And they witnessed that because they were contemplating on taking their own life. And then they heard this, and it didn't resonate with them at first. And then they got, you know, one of their relatives had been missing, and they got a phone call. I don't know what happened, but they got a notification that relative was found, and they took their own life. And they realized in that moment, and after they went to the funeral also, that the pain didn't end with them. That pain was only passed on to them and the family and everyone that person had touched. And the words that I said saved their life. You know, my words didn't get to go to that other person, you know, unfortunately. But at least I saved one out of the 2 people's life with what I said. And the same thing could go for you. You don't know who you can affect in such a positive way by sharing your story, by talking about things, by sharing posts, by even sharing this podcast with someone. You may help someone's life. You may alter someone's life for the rest of their life in a positive way. I know now that I've altered that person's life in a whole different aspect of life. And now they are going to go on and do the good work and help other Indigenous people who are struggling, who are suffering right now. And that's all by just sharing a story, sharing my story on how I wanted to take my own life. That's all I did. And I had someone else reach out to me recently at this powwow. And the stuff that I shared on my social media, the story time I do, the quote of the days I do, all my positive quotes, everything I did, made them take a look at their own life. And they weren't happy with who they saw. So they started to change that person in the mirror. And you could see it. I could see it on them because I knew them prior to the pandemic, to COVID. And now that I see that person, it's like night and day. You can honestly see that they are a new person, which is crazy how my words could affect them so much that they drastically end a cycle and begin a new one. And I'm only beginning, which is so crazy that I'm still so, it's just all so new to me. I talk a lot on my social media because I have a podcast. I share a lot of information that I have learned, on my social medias. I do spend a lot of time investing into myself. And now I hold myself accountable to invest into myself every day, to check in with my mental health every day, to read a book every day, 5 to 10 pages a day, listen to something inspirational daily, listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube, learn new things. Why? Because of all of you who tune in to this podcast, to every single one that has supported me on some social media platform, on everyone that I've touched in an amazing way, who I've helped change their life, who I've started to help show them their worth. I hold myself accountable now to be able to help you, because one day you're going to help someone else. And then that light that I've spread onto you is going to be shone down to someone else, and so on and so on. So I do have a lot to say on social media. But if you ever do come across me in person, because you just might one day, and if I don't say much, just understand that I'm a work in progress also. And I'll be a work in progress till the day I leave this earth. And sometimes traumas and triggers come up. And sometimes I don't know what to say because, like I said, this is all new to me. I never in my life could imagine that the things that I have to say would be so amazing to someone else, So just understand that sometimes it might not have anything to do with you. It's all to do with me. And maybe one day I will get used to people coming up to me and talking to me and sharing their gratitude with me. But so far right now, it's still so new to me. And I'm truly grateful for that as well. I'm not saying I'm not grateful for that. It's just I just never realized that I could amount to something like this. You can amount to anything that you want to become in life. It takes work. It takes consistency. It takes daily action. It takes daily gratitude. My podcast, I put a lot of time and effort into this. And I look at my numbers and I'm truly grateful for it. I'm not breaking any massive amount of records by thousands of downloads. I maybe get 50 to 100 downloads per week. But I think about it, even if I had one download a week by someone out there, and if I could touch that person and help them and affect them in a positive way, then my mission is completed for that day. Because my goal is to help someone in some form once a day, whether it be inspiring them to change their lives, from them helping them not take their own lives, to them changing and transforming their life, to even them wanting to get healthier, from them wanting to reach out to me about my Kangen water business, because I'm also a part of that as well. And I do have people who reach out to me who are ready to take that jump on changing their life and transforming their life with Kangen water. I've affected so many people's lives. It's crazy that I've broken cycles, and there's people that I'm gonna never ever meet that have been transformed by the work I've done. And this podcast is like an archive. Even when I pass, this will still be here, because one day these daily quotes are gonna end. One day these weekly Warrior Wednesday podcasts, they will end. Everything has an end to it, but with that, everything has a beginning, and that beginning is you putting the work in to start doing those actions, to start taking, accountability for yourself, for you beginning new cycles. That's what my goal is, to plant those seeds in you, and you start to do the work to flourish that, for it to become a garden. That's what my dream is. And this all started out with me changing my water. That's how this all started out. By me investing into my health and my wealth and buying myself a Kangen water machine. Who would have thought that Peter buying a machine would come into a podcast? Because there was people in this community that I'm with, the legacy builders, that made me believe in myself, that gave me the courage to start this journey. All of that by changing my water. Now just imagine how one simple choice that you make today could drastically change your whole life. It's just something super simple. And then you may not see it today. You may not even see it in 3 years. It may take multiple years for that to happen. It's like the bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 consistent years of being watered before it even sprouts. But after that bamboo tree sprouts, it grows up to 90 feet again within 90 days. Just imagine that. Imagine for 5 years seeing no results at all. And then after you see a little bit of results, kaboom, you got 90 feet of results. That's why people give up so soon, is because they're so used to that instant gratification. They want it now. And I'm guilty of it too, trust me. I've been there, and I still do struggle with that from time to time. But now I'm starting to see the seeds that I planted. I'm starting to see the fruit come about by people coming up to me and thanking me in person. People say it all the time on social media through messages, but it doesn't hit you the same until you actually witness it in person. It's a whole different thing when someone comes up to you and thanks you. So understand that I have traumas too, and I'm a work in progress. And if you ever do see me in person, I would love it for you to come up and thank me and tell me how helped you in some way. And if I just smile and I say thank you and, I don't say much, just understand that I have things about me too that I work on. All these things that I talk about is everything that I've had to work on myself to grow through. And one day, I will be over all this. I'll be growing through it. And I'll have lots to share and talk about. But this is still so new to me, so be patient with me if you ever see me in person. I am truly grateful though. So, with that, I think I'm going to end this podcast. And I truly want to say Sukani from the bottom of my heart. Sukani for being a supporter. Sukani for believing in me. Sukani for you taking the time out of your life to listen to me talk. Sukani for listening to me share my stories. Because this time that you just spent here listening to this podcast, you will never ever be able to buy that back. You will never ever be able to take that time back. That's why I'm super grateful that you chose to listen to me to the very end of this podcast. So if this podcast has touched you, can you do me a simple favor and share it with someone? You might help someone's life just by simply clicking share. I don't ask much of people, I don't ask much from people, but I'm learning to start to ask more. So just give it a simple share. It might save someone's life. So I'll see you next week, all my wealthy warriors. Have a great week. Keep investing in yourself. Dagas. And remember, everything always happens for the right reasons. Take care. See you next Wednesday.